Hey everyone, this is JonahTGP here, and today I am making a video about ultra budget gaming. So my original concept is that I was going to run a Celeron and a GT 720, but neither of those worked out in the end. It was kind of a long story. So anyways, these are the new specs and some of the prices that you could expect for them. So to begin with, there's an Intel Core i5 4590, that's 4 cores and 4 threads at 3.3 gigahertz. Those can be had on eBay for about $15. For the RAM, we have 10 gigs of DDR3, 1600 megahertz. That's one 8 gig stick and one 2 gig stick. RAM prices are insane right now. On eBay, you could get that for around $45. For the GPU, we have an NVIDIA Quadro K420. It's a 2 gig DDR3. They're around 15 bucks on eBay. Our SSD is a Samsung 850 EVO. It's a 250 gig SSD. It's about 20 bucks. As for the case, the motherboard, and the power supply, those all came from a Dell Optiplex 9020. Those can be had for like around $40, but typically you're not going to find them just with the case, the motherboard, and power supply. You'll usually have some RAM in there. So anyways, we're gonna overclock this as best we can just to get the best performance. You can't touch the core clock, and we've added 300 to the memory clock, and we've turned up the fan all the way just to give it its best shot. But other than that, there's not much we can do. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're going to run a benchmark from 3D Mark. As you can see, most of these aren't compatible with the system, but Time Spy is. So we are going to try running Time Spy and see what kind of a score we get. Then we're not going to run the demo, so that takes too long. Okay, so as you can see, the CPU up until the very end didn't have much to work on. We technically got a legendary score because I don't think anyone else has ever used this exact setup and tried to run this test before. But there's not much more to say about it. Temperatures never really got that hot. As for frame rate, it was not great. We didn't get 2 FPS in most places. Sometimes we didn't even get 1. So this card's struggling a little bit, I would say. But anyways, now we're going to test it in game. I'm going to try running Fallout 76. Alright, so as you can see, it's in 720p. It's not upscaled to fit the screen, so it's just kind of in the corner here. I just want to see if we can make it run at all. So we're in 720p low settings. Let's see how many frames we can get. There we go. Alright, so the first time I tried making this video with the Celeron, I stayed on that loading screen for like 45 minutes and it just never loaded. So I ended up giving up on it. So we'll see how long this takes. Hopefully not that long. This is basically twice as much CPU, so I would expect it to load quicker. Oh, there we go. Oh. Alright, well this is not so much running as it is walking. This is a bit like a PowerPoint presentation, slideshow, you know. But is it playable? Well, I mean, sorta. I can think of easier ways you could torture yourself, but I guess technically you could play this. The inputs are really laggy. There's like half a second of lag between when you touch a button to when your character reacts to that. So I wouldn't call this the most playable game I've ever run. Yeah, no. Alright, let's try New Vegas, because this came out way earlier than 76, so maybe this will run better. I'm at the Lucky 38. I actually didn't remember where I was. I haven't played this in a long time. Alright, let's go somewhere out in the open so that the graphics card actually has a challenge. Let's try Prim. See how long this takes to load. Oh, it's pretty quick. Huh. Yeah, we're getting 49 FPS. I mean, it's not the smoothest game I've ever played, but it's not bad. For 1080p low, this is a lot more than I expected out of this. CPU is stuck up at 100%. Graphics cards at between 100% and high 70s. So this is kind of a match made in heaven for them for this game. They're both giving about as much as they can. So I guess I'll just play this for a little bit and see how it does. But it's a lot smoother than I'd expected. Yeah, I've been playing it for a couple of minutes, and this is just, I have no complaints. This is fine. I could actually just play on this. And I guess that's the nice thing about PC gaming, because if your machine can't handle newer games, well, there's literally thousands of other games that it probably could handle, so. Yeah, I'll give Fallout New Vegas a win for sure. It just runs. Alright, now we're going to try Minecraft. Now, I would think that this will run somewhat okay. We'll try fancy graphics. See if there's any other settings in here that we can adjust. Not really. How many chunks are we loading? 25 might be a bit much. Let's turn that down a bit. Give our CPU a fighting chance here. Yeah, let's do 13. Yeah, I think that's fine. Alrighty. I haven't played Minecraft in a long time, and the UI has changed a whole lot. It's kind of interesting. Alright, that loading screen took literally 5 minutes, so I just cut it out. The game ran a lot smoother when I was playing it than it appears in this video. I'm not 100% sure why it looked so choppy. I'm thinking it's because the CPU is just so, like, floored out in most places that since I was also recording using that same CPU, it just didn't have the resources to do both. But it did play a lot better than it looks, and it's really a shame that I couldn't show it off, because it was impressive. Anyways, been playing it for probably 10 minutes now, and despite what it looks like in the video, it did play very smoothly. The average FPS counter up there in the top left, that isn't lying to you. That's what it felt like to me. It's just OBS couldn't capture it, unfortunately. Yep, been playing it for probably 25 minutes now. I'm not gonna lie, at this point I had kind of forgot that I was even filming a video. I was just having fun. This is a perfectly good system for running Minecraft. So again, Minecraft and New Vegas, they get a pass on this system. They'll play just fine. Alright, so just to quickly go over our specs again. We had that 4590, 4 cores and 4 threads. For the price that it is, it's a fairly competent CPU. Like, I can't complain at all. I'm pretty happy with that. I was also very surprised by the 10 gigs of DDR3. That wasn't a problem ever. The Quadro for 15 bucks, I can't recommend that for obvious reasons. If you just paid $25, $30, I understand that's double the money, but you might get 4 times the performance. It doesn't scale linearly, so I would strongly recommend going a different route for your graphics card. The SSD was fine, and then any old office computer is going to be great for this. So if you're just patient, you'll come across someone that's throwing away an older computer at some point. You could just slap a graphics card and maybe a little bit more RAM in there, and you'll have a budget gaming PC of your own. So I hope that you found this video to be informative and you enjoyed it. If so, please consider liking and subscribing. Maybe shoot me a comment.